we streaming? Okay, so we be streaming now. 1 second. Come on. Okay, so we be streaming. All right, so cool. So it's called 7 Gray Swans. Anybody heard of a gray swan? I think I sent what it meant. Where you got black swans that are like once a century events, like COVID. The last time we had an epidemic like this was like the Spanish flu, early 20th century. Where it was a global pandemic. Those things happen like once every 100 years. But then you had these gray swans that are trends that may lead to significant events or something that's going on that the book I was reading, it's something that's going on that basically people are not paying attention to. It's happening, but you acting like it's not happening. And so this book, it covers 7 of them. And let me go over them real quick. So the book, it's called 7 Gray Swans. It's number 1, universal basic income. That's 1. Digital currency and electronic economy. Like the digital currency and then electronic economy where you're buying everything with debit cards or different ways. Modern monetary theory, which means that basically you don't try to pay off debt. You just basically just print money, and then you basically do it that way through like printing money and taxes, and you can pay down the debt because it's more debt now than the United States is worth. It's like $27 trillion. Democratic socialism, it talked about where you look at the politics is democracy and then the economy is socialist. So like that would mean like if all of us were working in a place, let's say we all worked at a restaurant, we would all own it, only it wouldn't be private like that. Basically everybody owns a bit of it. Fragile networks, like the cloud, everything getting hacked, people being victims of data breaches, people being victims of ransomware. Some more, like 2 more. Social scoring, like people, I'm gonna just read it from the book. It says already being used in China, social score is a policing tool to evaluate good citizenship based upon a number of factors, including personal and public social media posts. Combined with the credit score, it offers a powerful source of control over free speech. Also, that goes along with like cancel culture. So like people getting canceled, I don't know if y'all on Facebook, but people are always getting kicked off of Facebook because they say something that may not be politically correct. YouTube channel gets strikes and gets canceled. Even these are public, private entities, but that's really the public sphere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, these are basically the public square. That's where people are coming together to exchange ideas. They're not going to the park or anything like that to do that. And biometric identification, facial recognition, fingerprint, iris scans, things they're already using like in India, their whole system where they have 1 billion people in this system where they just scan your irises and they do your thumb. And that's how you get benefits from the state. And now think about some of these things in relation to the Bible and prophecy, and how you think about it, how is it going to get to the point where you can't buy or sell unless you had his mark? How is it going to get to this point where it's so much control? And clearly at that time, it's not like you're going to be able to preach the gospel and nothing happened to you.
Right.
So those are some of the things that this book covered. And it's things that I know y'all seeing them. And I just want to know any ideas where you want to start at, anything that I said, spark anything.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'm sorry, you go ahead, brother.
No.
Y'all kind of love it. Let me change it.
Yeah, I was going to say that I know that a lot of people are investing in the crypto because your savings account can't keep up with inflation no more. If you keep your money in the savings account, you'll lose money. So a lot of people are putting their money into a cryptocurrency. It's a type of cryptocurrency called SafeCoin. And US has one where you can gain 8% a year on whatever you put in there. And so people are using that as a form of savings. The only difference between that and a regular savings account is that with a regular savings account, you get insurance. But if you leave your money in there, you're not going to have any money anyway. So I see a lot of people investing into it for that reason.
So the insurance, you're talking about the FDIC, like the up to $100,000 is insured.
Yeah.
Crypto is very risky, but I know like Bitcoin is like 56,000? It's something crazy.
It took a big hit thanks to Elon Musk.
Yeah, it fell today.
It fell today?
Yeah, it dropped down to 49,000.
See, I didn't even see that today.
I took a hit. I lost.
Yeah, I did too.
He's still winning, but they got a hashtag going around. Don't buy a Tesla now because of him.
Really? See, I didn't even see that. Okay.
He single-handedly messed that market up. It'll probably come back, but he hurt it.
Well, he was talking about, was it Dogecoin or the
Dogecoin on Saturday Night Live, which they took a big hit. And then this morning or last night, he said you can no longer buy a Tesla with Bitcoin. So then Bitcoin, and then I think the FDIC or somebody's looking into that type of cash, that type of money anyway.
Yeah.
Things are lining up.
Say again?
End time prophecy.
I didn't hear you.
Everything's lining up for end time prophecy.
Yeah, because if you think about how is it that, because my thing is if the more we become dependent, and I say we, I mean just human beings, the more we become dependent on things like digital currency and things of that nature and use cash less, it's like, okay, the more control you give over.
Well, you talk about universal income.
I'm not talking about universal basic income.
Oh, no, I was gonna say universal income really scares me because
okay, go ahead.
People will do anything for that check, not to go to work. Am I making any sense to you? So if you at least earning your own money outside of the system, because anything the government hands you has a million strings attached.
Yeah.
So anybody get used to that universal income, which I've been hearing them talk about for probably 15 years now. When there's a movie, they had a little movie out about Zeitgeist. And I heard a couple other people talking about you'll own nothing and be happy, meaning you're gonna rent everything and the government's gonna
that's some of the great reset as well.
Right.
But with the UBI, it's interesting, it's posed as something to basically deal with economic disparities, the poor, and it supposedly will alleviate poverty. And the reason this idea comes about is because particularly like Silicon Valley, those people, they looking in the future, and with automation, they see a huge crisis coming with the elimination of a lot of jobs. And what will that mean for the average everyday working person? And so they say, well, using universal basic income in order to address it, because basically people won't have jobs. I was, just looking at automation and some of these with AI and some of these jobs that can be taken. I saw a job, you would think it's just like, okay, well, it's, truck drivers and things like that and cashiers. No, it's like doctors, like lawyers, pilot, like, it's a lot of fields you wouldn't even think. And you see like automation with like, and that's another thing we could talk about too, in relation to this, birth rates are dropping all over the world. And so like Japan, they're losing, I want to say like 400,000 people a month, something crazy. Their birth rate is below replacement. So like what they're doing is they're using AI and they're using robots instead of people. So you go to a hotel, you're dealing with a robot. So it's really a dystopian type future that they're showing. But to me, if you take away most people's identity and purpose is wrapped up in their job, no matter how crappy that job is. So like you'll have an existential crisis on your hands if people can't, if they don't have anything to do. And in addition, if you giving people money, like we kind of see it with the stimulus. Have you noticed like everywhere you go, like in certain states, I want to ask you, brothers, so you kind of spread out. Are you seeing fast food places offering elevated rate wages, free food, benefits because people won't come to work? I know some young people, they were telling me the other day, he works at a Chili's. They only open a few hours a day. They have all these people, but it's like 5 people and they can't get anybody to come in and work. Yep. Has anybody noticed that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The dumbing down has worked in America.
The dumbing down.
Dumbed them down and made them lazy.
Yeah. And that's another thing. You don't get innovation, and you don't get the things that to me the biggest resource of the greatest resource of a nation is the people. Mm-hmm. And the minds of the people and what they can conceive and what they can build. But if you have no incentive to do that, mm-hmm. then you won't see an elevation of civilization. And that's what, that's the problem with socialism and communism. If you don't have an incentive, whatever work I do, I'm gonna get the same as somebody else. Right. What's the benefit? Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Obama, Elon Musk, Andrew Yang are all pushing that UBI. Mm-hmm. I saw Andrew mm-hmm. Yang in an interview, and I also saw a documentary. This was a while ago talking about it. But his was like $1,000 a month.
He mm-hmm. tested it already.
What's that?
He tested that while he was running for president.
Mm-hmm.
And it had good reviews. Well, I guess it would. Money for nothing.
$1,000?
Yeah, he had tested it on some people, and it worked.
He said that's kind of like the sweet spot. It's not enough to where you can get rich and don't have to work, but you maybe alleviate some poverty. So it's a very volatile time right now, to be honest. I'm just looking at things, very volatile. What else? Give me 1 second to go over this. What do y'all brothers think about this social scoring? And basically what I mean by that is basically the policing of like whatever you do. And basically not being able to get a job, or Uber gives you a score and they can say you can no longer use Uber anymore, or Airbnb can say, we don't like you can no longer use this anymore. Things like that. Things like you're seeing in China. In China, they give you a score, like you get a social score based on your like whether or not you said disparaging things about the government. Different little infractions. It's kind of I don't know, man. It's like this inability to say certain things today. It's like you're going in that direction.
We are going in that direction, and the way they do it in China, they also, if your score goes too low, you're not allowed to fly on the airplane, and you're not allowed to travel high-speed rail. So it's almost like these incentives that they were giving out now, whether you took this COVID shot or not.
Thank you.
Where you can go in to certain locations or not.
Right.
So, like I said, everything preps you for the next stage.
Yes.
So that's why I was talking about that, along with the universal income, along with, like you talked about, the social scoring, which we already started to see on, like you said, Facebook, Twitter, and all the rest. Mm-hmm. If you speak out of line, cancel culture.
Yeah.
They had that for a while, I think, though. It's been on longer than that, I think.
So is this scoring? Is this something like getting a strike or something like that? Like for saying something out of line? I mean, how does that how does it work? Because I'm not too much familiar with it. I do know that I've talked to people who talk about being in Facebook jail and stuff like that. For saying something that somebody that Facebook didn't like, or whoever is running it. I have heard about that, but I don't know exactly how it works.
Okay, so imagine being on your job, which I know that happens, and people seeing what you put on line on your personal business, and say, hey, we don't like that. Now, I give an example. I say instances where they telling you, hey, you drinking online. We don't want to see that. I'm not talking about me personally. I'm just saying, but I know that that's happened in certain situations. They say, yeah, it's not illegal to drink. And I'm not talking about getting drunk. Don't let nobody see you drinking online. Certainly, or you're saying things that can be considered insensitive to certain populations. That kind of thing. Being penalized for your thoughts. Yes, sir.
Sounds a whole lot like just a attack upon your freedom, attack upon rights. People they get offended, by certain things that and it's very hypocritical. It's very, very hypocritical, because they talk about you have these rights and stuff to of freedom of speech, but yet the moment that you say something, they want to single you out and things like that.
I mean, that's this is one of the few places with all America's flaws. This is one of the few places where you could say certain things like that. You could speak out against the government. You had that freedom of speech to a degree. Other places, man, they'll disappear you. Be in a gulag somewhere.
In China.
China, man.
Yeah,
they'll harvest your organs.
They'll find you. There's been more than a few instances, probably thousands. They'll find you, take you out in the street in front of everybody else, and they'll beat you in the middle of the street while saying, so the general public hears what you did and they know not to do it as well. They'll just take you out the street and beat you.
Yeah. So that's that kind of thing. I think that's the direction you go when you allow these infringements on the freedom to speak freely. Because freedom of speech, you need to make redresses against your government. You need to weigh ideas in the public sphere to see if that's the way in the direction of society should go. So it's a very volatile time. And you got the wrong people with no morals leading everybody. They the loudest voices. So you say something and it's like you have a problem. You look at another example of social scoring. Did Kevin Durant get fined $50,000 for his conversation?
Yeah, with him and Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
He got suspended too, I think, for a couple games.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He says some I think he threatened them too, but he says some homophobic not even gonna say homophobic, what they consider homophobic. I don't even like that term, to be honest with you. You can't anyway, he said he called them some names. Okay. So you see things like that. That'd be an example. You see with politicians, like when Trump got kicked off Twitter. That's an example. Now you think about it, that's a sitting president. Whatever you think about him, that's a sitting president. You kick the sitting president off of Twitter. I saw one athlete, I can't think of his name, he was a football player. He said something about entertainer being attractive or not. And he had to read it. He didn't have to, he chose to retract that statement. Because I guess he was talking about her weight. He was like, not, whatever. But they came after him. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, I would say that's kind of always been it. Because I remember the Dixie Chick said something about Bush, and they was crushing their records and stuff. So yeah, I was about to say cancel culture, I think, been around for a while. Because I remember Bill O'Reilly came after Ludacris. So they just put a name on it that seems catchy.
Seems more intense though.
Well, I would agree with you, because now, like you said, the companies are behind it, the big tech companies are behind it.
Yeah, they're becoming political.
Right. But I always remember people paying a price.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's always a price to pay.
Right.
especially if you're speaking truth. Not saying the Dixie Chicks or whatever. I'm not saying that. I kind of remember what you're saying. I'm not speaking directly to what they said, but it's in general. Especially if you speak truth, there's a penalty.
Right.
But it seems like it's being intensified now. There's a lot of things you can't say, and even like in different places like Canada, I'm seeing these ministers on the street getting arrested for what they say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
and they going into churches. They
shutting down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a volatile time, and I just see that in relation to what the prophecy is concerning.
Right.
Concerning
word not being able to be
tribulation. What's that?
I'm saying, because next thing you won't be able to preach the word.
Well, you can preach it.
Well, right, but it won't be free, like you said.
It'd be like in the first century again.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like you said, Canada is off the hook right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's been ridiculous for a while too.
Do y'all watch that show called Black Mirror?
I never even heard of that.
I watched it. It got too weird for me.
What's that about?
Black Mirror, if you ever look at that show, they showing exactly what's happening right now. It's a Netflix show. Okay. And what you were saying about the social, like basically like determining how high up in society you go based on like your social. There you go. Yeah, they have an episode exactly about that. And if you get, it's similar to like Yelp and the Trust Pilot. If you get so many stars, that's how far you're gonna go in society. And it seems like it's fulfilling the Bible to the T, because at some point we're not gonna be able to be on this phone, iPad, sit in our house, because we're not gonna be socially accepted because we're rejecting everything they're doing. I mean, it's totally against humanity, in my opinion, because where's your freedom? I mean, it's pretty much like even though we're not robots, they programming us to accept what they say, and if you don't accept it, what's going to happen to you?
Yeah,
you know, it's like dictatorship, communism all over again.
And totalitarianism. Yeah, that persecution is going to come again. You can see it how it could take place. And the technology, like I said, for the man of sin, at that time is, I mean, it could be done with the technology that's already here. Again, biometrics, you know, I'm talking about, you know, here and in your hand, or e-tattoos, any RFID, all that's here. Like you look at certain places, I want to say, is it Norway or Sweden? One of those two Scandinavian countries, they have thousands and thousands of people that have chips in them. That's how they ride the train. That's how they pay for things. It's a normal thing, you know. So I don't know.
I was going to say that it's when you look at like the higher ups or the people who run the government, when you see that they don't have a freedom of speech, then you know you as a
Smurf.
Yeah, as a bottom dweller ain't got no freedom of speech. I remember learning in class about how a lot of the politicians that's in Congress, they're a lot of them were bought by AIPAC, and I remember learning that like if they said something against, if somebody even assumed that they were quote unquote anti-Semitic or something like that, their whole political campaign would be destroyed. So when you see stuff like that, it's just, they don't have no freedom of speech, and it's supposed to be America. So it's some they right there in the office. So.
Well, when it comes to, I believe it's Sweden. That's what I was talking about, the country. Yeah, but when they I mean, politicians are bought. Paul Anderson say, you know, basically you buy your politicians. You know, they bought and sold like shoes, and then if you can't afford to buy them, you can rent them.
Yeah.
That's how that works. Yeah, that's how, because you think about it, a lot of times people vote and they have the people want something, and those people go, and the politicians go right against it. Like, how does this politician go right against his constituents? It's because he's getting money from someplace. because that's who's controlling the politics, the money behind it. It's not the vote. They just clearly after the last election, you saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. I see us, we getting duped the most out of everything.
Oh man.
They used everything that had unraveled in the past summer. They used that as a medium to push all of this this social silence, or just boom people offline that they thought was racist or bigot. I listened to one guy on YouTube. He got kicked off of YouTube. I forgot his name. He went to the Patreon, but he was just explaining like what was wrong with Black Lives Matter. He was right in what he was talking about, but they kicked him off because they said he was a racist.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's a good, like I said, it's a volatile time. And even like when you say, even when people were disputing the election, like you couldn't even say that you thought something was fishy, because they would take your videos down, they take your page down, put you, like brother said, Facebook jail. And every time somebody might mention something, and they would put this election was ran appropriately or something to that effect. Same thing with the COVID vaccine. It's just safe and effective. You're like, you don't, okay. But it's just like, you can't, it's not, you're not allowed to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm. What was scaring them though, brother, is I was saying, you even seen a lot of radicalization online. The same way they used to bring a lot of those cats over from ISIS, they said they brought a lot of them in through the internet. And they seen a lot of these hate groups come through, and it's starting to work here. How did some of these people get radicalized? It's because they started following stuff that had no basis in truth. Now, so that's what we wonder, how do you put checks and balances on it? Because is it free speech if it causes somebody else to be harmed?
Let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons people become radicalized, 2 reasons: extreme exploitation and lack of education.
Oh, I agree with you, yes.
So you want people to not be radicalized, fix the educational system.
No, I agree with you. That's what we said, the dumbing down of America, I mentioned earlier.
Because you won't fall for the logical fallacies that are being put forth in the media.
Oh yeah. No, I agree.
And the indoctrination that's coming, through the news. Journalists today are basically peddling ideology. They're not giving you information to the best of their knowledge and saying, hey, this is what we know about it. You make your own decision. Mm-hmm. They're engaged in social engineering.
Right.
So if you don't want people to be radicalized, people need to be able to think.
Exactly.
People don't want to think, brother.
Yeah. And they're not taught, trust me, they're not educated, they're not taught to think.
You take a little homework to educate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But just like with the Bible, brother, I met people and discussed with them the things that I've learned from reading the Bible with you gentlemen, and they'll poo-poo at it, then they'll take it and study it, and then they'll still turn away from it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think that's one of the reasons they was trying to capture some of the stuff that they were saying to try to stop the radical. Because as you can see, some people are starting to wow out, just believe anything.
Yeah, but at the same time, and again, I don't believe in any of them.
No, I don't.
As far as politicians or political parties, but in these democratic cities, talk about radicalization, they allow these cities to burn.
You know I'm against that.
But they allow these cities to burn and acted like there was nothing they could do. That was all political, to me, like certain things like this, so that was.
They had like red zones, or like they had areas where I think
a sovereign state. 3-block radius. Sovereign. People getting shot over there. And the EMTs have to ask, can they go get the person that got shot?
That's crazy.
Come on, man.
No, so the reason what I'm saying, some of the reasons we see this madness is, once I've been saying for a while, people are being used. Like they let you tear up a certain area, then somebody can get elected and run their agenda.
Right.
By letting it happen. So that's why I tell people quit being pawns and think, is it constructive what you're doing?
Yeah. So when you talk about radicalization, you know, like even somebody mentioned BLM, that's Marxism. You know, even the idea, you know, even when they were tearing down statues, tearing down the statues had nothing to, you know, people on the surface think it has something to do with racism, which I understand. It's problematic when you had these people who, if this is your country and they committed treason, now you got a statue of a person in the square, you know, in the park square. That's a problem. But they were tearing down statues, Frederick Douglass, blues singers, Stevie Ray Vaughan, all different kind of statues got torn down because that's what it is about. It was about the erasing of history. So when you think of like communist regimes, you know, one of the things they would do, they have to erase the collective memory. And so monuments, which are reminders, help to do that. You know, this idea of defunding the police, because you think about it, that's insanity.
Right. That's insane.
I mean, you're gonna go to Baltimore and say we're not gonna get, they're not even, man, a lot of stuff, they're not even charging people with stuff. Yeah. You talking about one of the most dangerous places in the country.
Yeah.
Chicago, one of the most dangerous places in the country. We're gonna get rid of the police. Don't get me wrong, yeah, you got some bad police, but
still need them.
Huh?
I said, yeah, you still need the police though.
You still need a police force.
So that's what we was talking about before. I mentioned about what were the people protesting. Are we protesting so that we don't have any repercussions for our actions? Meaning the people that's wilding out. Oh, it ain't his fault, let him go. You know, well, we have to steal. That's how we eat. You know, so don't charge them with a crime. And it blows. I've heard that.
Yeah, I believe.
So I'm sorry.
No, you good, brother. Go ahead. Yeah, you good. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah. Something happens, then you have to tear down your own community. You know.
It's crazy how they pushing for this vaccination. I saw something. Well, I think they was giving out free fries or like a free.
Oh yeah, the governor of New York or mayor of New York or whatever giving out free cheese fries.
They looking at people like they stupid.
They do think we stupid. They do think we stupid.
You can get $1 million here.
Say again.
You can get $1 million in Ohio.
For what?
Real?
They having $1 million drawing for the.
I saw that, dude. Yeah, I saw that.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm in there, buddy. I had my shit. I just need to pull mine. I'll hook all y'all up though.
Right,
hey,
I have a question.
Hey, I think that that speaks to how hard it is to get people. Some people not trying to get this vaccine.
Oh no, they're not.
Exactly.
My kids, and I don't blame them, because I said they're young. And only thing that blew me away, I got a 70-something-year-old aunt ain't taking it. And I was like, if it does affect your chromosomes, we're not having.
And people are, man, this is a social experiment. I mean, a medical experiment, excuse me. Yeah, man, I saw one. I think a Krispy Kreme was giving away. Hey, you get your COVID. I'm like, so wait a minute, COVID gonna kill you? Diabetes, like what? Because those donuts are like crack. You eat one and melt in your mouth. You got to keep eating. Like you ate a dozen. You ain't even know you did it. They hot and ready. Brother Isaiah, was you saying something, brother?
Yeah. I read the article. I remember. I think it's Wednesday. You mentioned about that same prostitution legalization, right? And I went and I read the article. What was ironic about it, right? When you compare the legalization of marijuana, they were expunging and erasing dropping all the previous cases, thousands of cases, right? And in comparison to marijuana, right, they didn't drop those cases, but this prostitution stuff, they're dropping all the cases from the past. I think even in Queens, the bars of Queens doing it as well. And I'm thinking, what came to my head? I said, why would they drop it in like the biggest financial city in the world? And then it hit me, right? I read an article some years ago about this madam who was once a Wall Street secretary, and she realized she couldn't make money from starting prostitution ring. She got busted anyway. Now I realized that Wall Street, those guys love them stuff. It's those big guys, those money guys who really, I don't know if they push for it, but now we can see that they're gonna benefit from it, right? From the sale of flesh, living flesh, right? So this is some of the things that I keep playing in my head. How come you didn't forgive the guys who are selling marijuana, but you legalize marijuana? Now you legalize prostitution that could give you all kind of STDs. You need just the things that are morally wrong. It seems like they're the top of the good now.
Well, listen, brother. You know, when you think about why they put so many people, most people were in prison in the United States because of nonviolent drug offenses, right? So you got to think about it. Well, why do that? Well, one theory is that these prisons were housing a population of people that could not technically be employed and supported by the system. So incarceration serves twofold. Number one, to hold these people that you can't employ. And number two, it employs people in that would be working in certain areas where prisons are. Like white population, low middle class to working poor white folks to go in those prisons and work in them. Second, now see, so when you look at, I don't know, I'm thinking of when I look at prostitution and the legalization of it, I look at it twofold. It is in part, you know, you wouldn't have something like that without the rise in feminism. But also, it's the same thing with the ideas about UBI and the stimulus and this, you know, what work are they going to be doing? See, prostitution, they call it the old profession. It comes out of necessity. So if you look at it in a society in places like New York, you know, I'm not saying this is going to spread everywhere. It's in a few places now. But if you think about it, why do you feel it's necessary to allow this to take place? It's kind of like when you look at places and you can only sell drugs in a place where they allow it to take place. Mm-hmm. So if they're allowing prostitution to the point where they will decriminalize sex work, they're doing that for a reason. The system can't, they have too much crime going on, too much economic crime. And then two, they look at it in another way. Socially, this might be necessary for people to eat, like prostitution has been historically.
And the thing is, these guys up here were talking about it, debating and all that till they have some like
it's wrong, by the way. Go
union. Yeah. I know up here in Canada they were talking about it strong, like big debates about legalizing it, right? Mm-hmm. And like the let me put it in their terms, the sex workers, right? Mm-hmm. They band together, petition saying it's their body, right? Mm-hmm. And they have the right to do what they want with their body, and government shouldn't dictate if they want to go into prostitution. But I think the talk went down. Now I think New York going to raise this talk up again up here. Now they legalize it. So I don't know if it's the beginning of sorrows.
Say again?
I said I don't know if it's the beginning of sorrows, because some of the things we talked earlier, it sounds like they're practicing like a dress rehearsal and it's parade for the tribulation. Like all those social I've been written down.
Well, it's a lot of
social scoring, right? I could see that, and then money going totally digital, where they could shut you down and starve you, right? Put you and a lot of things they do now that I don't know if they started in the States yet. Facial recognition. China is big on that. England too. Facial recognition.
They're big and good.
Right? And it's scary. You going everywhere and a camera tracking you everywhere. Next thing they put AI going to track you just now. They'll fire the guys and put the AI, and I'll track you perfectly.
Yeah, and so, you get used. You get basically you're used to it.
Yeah.
You know, because especially now with COVID, because it's we were already doing it like traditional currency or debit cards and buying online. Now you don't want to exchange things with currency because you think you're gonna pass the virus, but even though there's no necessarily proof of that.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Brother Khalil?
I would say not only are they, Brother Isaiah was saying, not only are they really like trying to really into the facial recognition thing, they're very, very good at it. Like almost otherworldly good at it. They can track someone from the time that they leave their home all the way to work. And it's not like, you know how like on our phones or like on the old Xboxes, it would pick up your face and then sometimes it wouldn't pick up your face and it would think you were somebody else. It's not like that at all. It knows who is who and where they're going. From the time they hit the street, go to work, and then back home.
That's, you know, what you just mentioned right there. What you said about I don't play video games, so I'm not sure, but you're talking about how facial recognition doesn't work sometimes. Yeah, that's the only thing that's stopping its spread. Like you got certain because people getting accused of crimes and it's not them, and that's the only thing. You know, like that book I read that it stated that was the only thing that's stopping facial recognition technology or hindering it, because it can be inaccurate. You know, so I don't know. So brother, prostitution in Canada, I know has a more liberal stance. It's not technically legal, is it?
No, I think they're lobbying for it to go legal. And what's my worry now is that New York, you know, America is, let's say it like this. The law comes out of America now, right? The moral laws. So it will surface again. Right? It will surface again. It's legal. It's like that in Holland, right? In I think somewhere in Europe, Holland, it's already legal for years, marijuana and prostitution. But man, to expose your kids to that now, we're gonna stop them from putting an ad on TV, on the radio.
It's legal.
Nobody. It's legal business now.
No, I'm saying it's legal in Vegas.
Well, in a county, it's not in the whole city, right?
No.
It's in a county. It's like a county in that area in Nevada.
Yeah.
But you can't just go to Vegas and.
Well, what's strange?
You'll be under the jail.
I haven't seen any of the Sunday churches talk out about it yet, or Al Franken talk about it. I haven't seen any of those guys who's supposed to be the moral compass.
Well, you can't go to a church today and find a moral compass. That's just not gonna happen. I take that back, brother. I misspoke. Prostitution in Nevada, currently 8 counties in Nevada. I said one, there are 8 counties. So
yeah, I never went to Vegas because I was afraid I might like it.
I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah, nah. Yeah, nah. That's to me. That's just a place I went when I was young. That's just a place you can lose some money. We were talking about before we started streaming, talking about iPhones. If I won't buy an iPhone and Jordans, you know I'm not gonna go. I never had an iPhone, never had Jordans. You know I'm not gonna go and gamble my money away.
Look, I never had Jordans either.
Yeah, man, that's
unbelievable.
Mm-mm.
All right, I got a question, brother.
Go ahead.
We said drugs are becoming legal. Sex, they're talking about making it legal through prostitution.
Mm-hmm.
We got free money and digital TV.
And what TV? Wait, I didn't hear the last one.
Oh, I'm sorry, and all the free TV, all the YouTubes and all that. So basically, we done pacified all the people's needs. So we done pacified them, so people gonna be satisfied with all these vices. But this is what scares me. I have talked to young kids, and I said, "What do you want to do?" The dude said, "I just want to get by." And another one said, "We don't have to work as hard as you do anymore. We want to do as little as possible." So they set it up. This is set up for a generation that because I'm 56 years old now, and that's all I was raised doing was hard work.
I think you forgot something, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, apologies necessary. I would just say you got to add the effeminization of men.
Right.
To that, because that testosterone and that drive is something else that pushes civilization forward. Right. But when you telling him he got to be sensitive, like I was driving here, like I was running late. I was driving here. That route trash man was on. I had to turn that off. I had to turn it off. I'm like, I don't hit no sensitivity. I had to turn that off.
We basically killed people's motivation and made them. You get a check to stay at home, and there's enough money for you to do drugs, and now you can get prostitutes and free money in them. Well, what's gonna make a man go to work to do something? He's gonna sit in your house and be controlled, waiting on your check to come once a month, so you can get some more drugs, sex, and some
There's already I think I've talked about this before. There's already this failure to. Jordan Peterson talks about this and others about men. There's failure to launch.
Right.
Like you were saying, they don't have any drive. There's no drive to be great. There's no drive to even be productive.
It's all given to them.
Yeah, that's not a recipe for a thriving society. But I think, quite frankly, again, thinking about prophecy, the United States has to take a back seat.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Because these other powers are coming into the picture.
Mm-hmm. With all this stuff going on, it's going to make it real easy to tell who's in the truth.
What do you mean by that?
Like with the pacifying of people, like Brother Albert said, and then the stuff that's becoming legal, and then like how the Christian church is going, you'll be able to say, all right, this person is not like everybody else.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. That I mean, you're kind of seeing that now a little bit. I'm starting to see, people. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people they don't really have. To me, they don't have a sound understanding of scripture. But a lot more people, to me, it seems, know that they're Israel.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
A lot more people saying like natural born. Then other people are saying, "Hold on, this is the way." I mean, it's not, billions, but it is. You're starting to see it more and more, So, yeah.
What do y'all think about these firms that are changing just to online and nothing in person?
Speak a little bit more about that.
A lot of the firms, like for example, the firm that I'll be working at, it's a virtual internship. And so that is a common trend with a lot of technology firms, a lot of financial firms. a lot of firms that are located in like big cities, they've sold their office spaces so they can have their employees work from home, and a lot of it is becoming permanent. This book right here, it's called COVID-19 and the Great Reset.
Yeah,
Oh,
Schwab.
Yeah,
that character.
It talked about in one of the chapters. It talked about how them doing that was a way to push for automation and AI to replace those jobs.
Wait, doing what?
So for
are you speaking to making things online?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. This is just one excerpt from it. It says in 2016, 2 academics from Oxford University came to the conclusion that up to 86% of jobs in restaurants, 75% of jobs in retail, 59% of jobs in entertainment could be automatized by 2035. These 3 industries are among the hardest hit by the pandemic, and in which automating for reasons of hygiene and cleanliness will be a necessity that in turn will further accelerate the transition towards more tech and more digital. There's an additional phenomena set up to support the expansion of automation when economics distancing might follow social distancing as countries turn inward and global companies shorten their super efficient but highly fragile supply chains. Automation and robots that enable more local production while keeping costs down will be in great demand. Hold on. All right.
That's another thing. That's where most of the jobs are. Most of the jobs are in the service sector, and those are the jobs that are being automated. So that's a crisis waiting to happen. So they have to address that. The problem is, again, it's not going to be. They always paint this rosy picture. Everybody you're gonna have what you want. You're not gonna have a car. You read that part where it talks about not having a car and not having, and you're gonna love it. No, you're not.
That's crazy, man.
You're not gonna have a car, you're not gonna have this, you're not gonna have that, and you're gonna love it. No, you're not.
Part of this stuff that's coming on in the future, I wonder why people don't resist it. Meaning, I will not get in the self-checkout lane, and for 2 reasons. That's a job, and then second, I don't even get a discount for ringing up my own stuff.
Man, they hustling you. You ringing your own stuff up.
And you bagging it. So I don't go to the self-checkout. I still make them send me paper statements.
Yeah.
I still write checks because somebody got to open that check and run it through the system versus me just clicking the online stuff. But when he was talking about people working in their offices, I done seen them. I mean, people working at home, they squeeze more out of you. You're isolated. There's no water cooler talk. You don't get to trade notes with what the boss is doing. You have no idea what the other person's salary is or what they're being required to do by keeping you at home. So I've been saying, go back to work for that reason. So, okay. And you at home, the time you walk away from your computer, they can jail,
Computer is a terrible existence, just being on a computer.
Yes. I saw that they was trying to put a special tax on people who work from home because they said that it was a privilege.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's what they were saying. I think they came from like a banker. I forgot what firm proposed that, but they said a lot of employers should be taxed. So,
from working at home.
Yeah.
That's the brick and mortar, you see it particularly with retail, it's a thing of the past. I was listening to Andrew Yang in an interview, and he was talking about the high percentage of malls in a few years won't even be open. What are the mall? I know the mall out here is stuff in the mall that you would never even think of. It's a JJ's Fish in the mall. Years ago, that would be unheard of, but they're having problems filling those things up because people are not shopping in the mall. I try to avoid the mall like the plague.
They put JJ's up in there. They
had a J. I heard. Like I said, I don't go. They was like, it's a JJ's JJ's Fish was in there. Malls are closing, so they was trying to get people. Trying to get certain businesses in there. it's just but it's so, and to what Brother Albert is saying, it's so convenient. This is a microwave. Everybody wants things fast. I was listening to Bill Barr. He was telling a joke. He was talking about how people complain on a, they gripe on a plane, but it's like, man, if this was 200 years ago, how long would it take you to get to where you're going? Take you months. You complaining because it's a 15-minute delay on a plane that's about to get you 1,000 miles or 2 hours. It's just, yeah. So yeah, when you say why they don't do, people don't even think like you thinking, brother. They so detached from that, especially people today, man. It's like, you remember the internet? I can remember when you turn on the internet, it went all that noise. You can't, man. We can't stream like we doing now. Let the stream mess up. I'm gonna be mad. Man, this stream was wrong. Just gonna keep complaining, but you think about, I'm speaking to you brothers. One brother in Georgia, one brother in Nap, one brother in Ohio, one brother not even in the country. So it's just one of those things. It's just that we had this microwave generation where everybody wants what they want right now, and they're used to that, and they soft, brother. Right. Yeah. But was it saying bad times create good men, good times create bad men, or something like that? Men that are basically not worth the weight in salt. It just is what it is. Yeah, that work gives you purpose, man. That's when you start messing with that, it's a problem. I seen in education, man, I hate to say it, but you see a lot of, it's kind of like, and it's not in a disrespectful way, but you see the kids, they suffering like zombies on the computer. No, that's not meant. Education is meant, part of education is the personal interaction, and it's only so personable. You can only be so personable online.
Right.
If you in the bed under the cover on the computer, you're not engaged.
You mentioned something about China. I think it was China or Japan was trying to raise the masculinity level.
That's China. Yeah, I was talking about that the other week. Yeah,
it blew me away.
Yeah, they have an initiative in their schools to increase the masculinity of their men, while there's a fight to allow transgender boys to run against girls in this country.
Oh, I thought you were talking about over in China.
Nah, not in China. They want more men because they're on the verge of becoming they're already a superpower.
Right.
They're already a superpower, but they're only getting stronger. And that's how you get stronger. That's who fights your wars. That's who drives your civilization. But hell, if you ain't going nowhere, you might as well stay at the crib, play video games.
That's what they doing. That's what they doing.
That's what's going on. Yeah, that's what's going on, man. It's a tumultuous time, man. I keep saying that, but it's a fact.
Yeah. I don't know. We was walked there slowly. We were walked over that cliff. And I seem
incrementally. Yeah.
I seem like a lunatic because I be raving about stuff. My kids think I'm nuts, man. But they always find out I'm right later.
And you know what? That's another thing that I always talk about this. That disconnect between generations is really problematic. The generation before you had something to offer. And if you're not wise enough to go to them and get the information you need to go forward to escape the pitfalls, you will fall for the same thing. There's these things are delicate balances. The generation from one generation to the next. You think about the dynamics between men and women. It's like they think they're under the misconception that breaking these traditions that have gone on for generation and generation and changing the roles that have gone on for generations and generations is going to be good. No, they were there for a reason, dumb. Now you remove them. Now you see what kind of society you're going to have. You're going to have chaos. You think about it. And we know it firsthand as a people. I talk about this a lot. Out of wedlock birth rates. There's a reason why you don't want out of wedlock birth rates. Why? Look at Black folks. Look at our people, and you see what's going on in our communities. They are destroyed because of lack of sexual discipline.
I was separated from my oldest child because I had her out of wedlock. It was hard to spend time with her. I was always going over there trying to pick her up and scruffling. Now, you know, it was never easy. So that, you know, I'm testifying from myself, you know, trying to spend, there was times I told her to get in the car because it's my weekend, you know, but when you separate, even if you're a good guy, paying child support and all that, it's a terrible thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that child, we could talk about that next week.
I'm not going to fuss about child support. I was just talking about the separation from having a child.
No, you made me think about it because I said we are going to talk about it. So much stuff happened this week.
Yeah.
And like I said, I read that book and then I texted y'all. But yeah, man, that's a whole, you know, that dynamic and not having a father in the home and how marriage is so easily dissolved today. That's a problem, man. And the delicate balance has been disturbed. And so when those balances are disturbed, you're going to have chaos because these systems and institutions in society are very, very volatile. They're volatile, you know? So when you mess with it, you think about it, the systems that we have, whether they're education, marriage, these systems and institutions, they didn't just come about yesterday. They're sometimes hundreds of even thousands of years in the making, depending on what you're talking about. So, and what culture you're in. So when you disturb them, you're going in the wrong direction. They came about. Oh, it's like when you find out something that works. Right. Oh, I found out this works. And then you pass it down. It's like when you find out, you think about it, how do people know something was poison? Because somebody ate it and it was like, hey, don't eat that. And then they tell that, hey, and then next thing you know, it's 1,000 years later and you know that that's poison. Right. But if there's a break in the knowledge, there's a break in the tradition, and then you go, and then, oh, those berries look yummy. Now you dead. That's what's happening, man. People don't realize that, man. It's these are done for a reason. There's wisdom in things that they're not paying attention to, and they're gonna suffer the consequences. Society's suffering now for it, but they won't acknowledge it though. They won't. It'll be too late. Like you said, they find out later that I was right. You think about the hell that this country's gonna suffer and society's gonna suffer by the time you realize everything you're doing right now is wrong. By the time you realize maybe you shouldn't be feminizing your boys. Think about it. You feminize your boys, where you gonna get the women gonna get their husbands from? Right. You don't need that. No, you do need a husband. You need a husband later in life.
And protection.
Protection. For it's the best measure against poverty for a woman. That, like I said, they legalizing prostitution. Right. So you legalize prostitution. Now you basically don't incentivize being married, especially with the risk of being married today, because you messed up that system. So you're gonna have, if they go around and decriminalize it to the point where it's just legal, I'm not saying they will, but if they were to do that, you realize you've made yourself into $40.
Wait, how's she gonna go to the PTA meeting, bruh?
I'm in education. Don't nobody go to the PTA meeting. That's what you understand. Okay. Don't nobody go to PTA. Nobody even go. Parents don't come to the parent-teacher conferences.
How you introduce yourself? That is my mom. What she do for a living?
Hey, brother, there's no shame. You slut shaming.
Oh yeah, I can't do that. I'm sorry.
No, you understand what I'm saying though? If there's no shame associated with it, you can do it.
Yeah, I know.
And that's why I say you get away from certain things. It's a reason to shun people. It's a reason to shame people. Why? So your society don't go to hell.
Exactly.
I'm not just talking about the lake of fire. I'm talking about in a hellish condition.
Right.
You don't pump, like even this money, you're gonna print money. That doesn't go, that goes against biblical principles. It's certain principles. You know, when you look at what money is, the Bible talks a lot about money. But you're just gonna print fiat currency and go into all this debt. I don't care how modern you call it, modern monetary system. That's a recipe for disaster. It always has been.
Because inflation's here now. Everything's inflated now.
Everything's inflated. I'm looking at housing in my area, and the cost of housing is skyrocketed. And these young people are not going to be able to afford it. And this place I'm at is not one of the elevated places in the country. Try the East or West Coast. Yeah.
Price of cars have gone through the roof, they say.
That's what I said, man. I might have to fix the van.
And Austin mentioned it.
Say again?
No, Austin mentioned about savings accounts. And somebody told me that a long time ago. Money that just sits in a savings account is losing value because of inflation.
Yeah, it was at 3%, which barely kept up with inflation, but then they lowered it to like 1.5. So if you
get 1.5 for savings?
Yeah.
Dude, I get like 0.01 or something.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
You get 5 cents?
About 10 years ago, I quit getting statements in the mail for interest earned on the savings account because the rate was so low. And I said, I didn't get a statement. They said, we don't have to send you one if you don't get at least $10. Bank loan me my own money back. Higher interest rate.
And
talk about being stupid.
And not only that, just the system. Some things you see in the system, it's like, man, this exploitation can only go so far. With fractional banking, the banks can loan up to 9 times what they have. So if you give them $1, they can loan $9 more and charge interest on money that they don't have.
I even heard that the bank, you give them 10, they'll loan 9 to another bank. Then that bank will keep one and then loan out 8 of those dollars.
Just greed, immense greed.
Oh yeah, that's why they worry about the run on the banks, because there's really not
the money's not there.
Right, it's not there.
Then they split up your mortgages. That was the thing too. Sell different pieces of your mortgage. And like, where my title? We don't have that. It's all over.
Nobody knows what the title is.
It's 100 pieces.
Right.
You'll come out better having your money invested in mutual funds or cryptocurrency. Because some of the crypto tokens, they pay you like up to 20% on the dollar, 17%, 8%. I mean, everything is going digital now. Like that old way of banking, it's over. Like my parents, they still stuck in that. Like my mom and dad won't do nothing. They still got the flip phone and the old school bank cards and all that. I'm like, yo, mom, in the future, I don't know how you're gonna be making payments, yo, because that's dead. Nobody's doing that anymore. Well, the young people not, because they understanding the way money is going. Everything has changed now.
They like convenience. I agree with you. My kids click on the phone.
Yeah, I do it. I can't lie. I mean, it's convenient, and plus I make a lot. I like making money, so I pulled out of Bank of America. I mean, I deal with it for transactions like bill paying and all that. But as far as capital gains, because they playing us. Yeah, right. It's a joke.
But that is what the brother started when he with this. He said that's the beast system coming into place that would make it easier for.
But like Elisha was saying, whether we like it or not, it's gonna happen. So you just have to make up your mind. Like once they say, okay, now you either take this mark or you can't eat, then I just cut off everything. I'm out. Because I can't compromise salvation for it. Right. But up until that point, I mean, you got to survive in the society. So
yeah.
Thankful for y'all though, because there's a lot of people out there who's not having these conversations, and they ain't gonna have no clue what's going on in the church or not in the church.
Right.
They're just gonna be lost in the sauce.
Yes, sir.
Like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And we're gonna be packing it up, getting ready to go. We probably be talking about it for a decade by the time they realizing, all right, something ain't right. Something's a bit. Something stinks.
Something on their neck. Something's not right.
Yeah. Why is this man putting a chip in my arm or whatever is going on? Why is this big old camera keep following me?
Yeah,
they're not even gonna be able to put 2 and 2 together.
exactly.
Yeah, the world is in darkness, brother.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it. You could,
Exactly.
In what they call, whatever they call it, some instinct or your gut feeling, something is telling you that things are not right. It's in then you read the scriptures and you look at things from a spiritual lens. You say, oh, this is what's wrong.
Exactly. Yes,
What's-
sir.
People are
What's
missing it.
crazy? What's crazy is, I think like beginning of last year, I just started getting this weird feeling. I was like, something's not right. Something's coming. Something weird's happening. And I never felt that feeling before last year. And this was like before COVID even got bad. I was like, something ain't right.
I had that feeling you had too, Khalil, probably in 2018. I remember I was at work with a friend of mine, and I was telling him, I feel like by 2020 or 2022, something really bad gonna happen. And then COVID happened. And he called me. He was like, Mo, man, how did you know? I was like, from reading the scripture and feeling what's in the spirit, I knew something was coming. But I personally feel like next year, something even darker probably gonna happen. And these evil people, they do a lot of things in numerology. So when you look at what's going on and you see the numbers, you're like, wait a minute, man. Because, they always predictively program stuff through like The Simpsons and the cartoons and Family Guy and the movies. They always show you what they're about to do. Exactly. Yeah. And they'll show you what's about to happen, then it'll happen. So if you pay attention to the clues, it's right there to see.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, like, the spirit helping you and like guiding you, where like, my mom, oh goodness, she like the Holy Spirit told me to put that cake down. I'm like, the Holy Spirit did not tell you to put the cake down. You shouldn't be eating cake in the first place.
She said the Holy Spirit told her to put the cake down.
Yeah, or she
What
needed
kind
to
of
lose
cake
weight.
was
I didn't even get that far.
Okay. That might have made a difference.
As soon as she started mentioning what the Holy Spirit starts saying, it usually goes in one ear and goes in one ear and out the other with me, because it's usually some, no offense to her, it's usually some nonsense.
No, that's that's how it works. People use God and the spirit, what they call the spirit, however they want to.
Yeah.
Whatever, that's just foolishness. Like you said, you didn't eat that cake, didn't eat that cake.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That was your third piece. Stop it.
She thinks spiritual warfare is her not wanting to go for a walk in the morning.
It's a battle. It's a battle. It's a battle, huh? Yeah, that's messed up. Yep. All right, brothers. If nobody had anything else, I'll go ahead and shut it down. And I appreciate you, brothers. Just tumultuous times, and we'll get on some of those topics that we were talking about prior. I just thought we should talk about some of these things because you're sometimes with current events, you look at nothing's really going on, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 all these things take place. So before we get off, one question: how's gas where y'all at?
Right
Any
now.
shortages?
Right here.
Not in Ohio. What'd you say, Khalil? Brother Khalil?
Running out.
Huh?
They're running out of gas here.
They are?
Yep.
Ooh. Okay. Any place
Ain't no
else?
gas. Yeah, ain't no gas around us.
Really?
Yes, sir. We out.
So,
I'm at a gas station now.
So is it? But so you got gas then, brother? Where you
Yes.
at, Joseph? Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, because they were predicting. I saw they were predicting shortages. Then I started everything will be back to up and running next week. But I don't know. It's like I said, these systems are very volatile.
Yes, sir.
Very volatile. These delivery systems that we have in place, it impacts everything. It impacts your food, deliveries, everything. So,
Right.
Up in the Panhandle, they had lines stretching down the roads for fuel.
Really?
Oh yes.
Wow.
Goodness.
Yeah.
It's always good to keep some emergency food supply or some MREs around just in case,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they say you're supposed to have, well, people say a lot of things, but you know, you want to have at least 3 months at least of food. And then when you start doing the math, if you have a family,
need about 5 years.
well, no, I mean, it's just a lot. You need, you think about it, you need a lot of water. Let's say the water goes out.
Yeah, you do.
You need a lot of water. You need a lot of water. You need a lot of food. You need, and then you got to look at certain staples and then storage of this food. It's
right.
10 drops of unscented chlorine bleach per gallon after you run your water through a ceramic water filter.
What if the water's not on?
No. I'm talking about outside.
Oh, you're talking about, okay.
I even have a survival straw.
Yeah,
right.
yes,
sir.
Well, that's the reason. Hey, man. Try to tell you, man, you got to.
Yeah.
In case.
I've been thinking about getting some armor, but
just insurance.
Insurance?
Yeah, I mean that's what I call it, insurance. You may never have to use it. Like you don't want to, when you wreck your car or burn your house down, just in case.
Stay in prayer, and I understand getting things like I said. I believe in being armed and having all that. So, which I have, but yeah, I was looking at that. The other day, to be honest with you. So, but I'm gonna definitely stay prayed up and keep my eyes open and try to be wise and prepare the best way I can for me and mine. And if there's nothing else, I'll holler at you brothers in a few hours in Bible study, question and answer.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. I
I
appreciate you.
Peace, family.
Peace, family. Peace, everybody.
See y'all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Peace.